With temperatures and heat indexes this week projected to reach, the temperature of the sun, and certainly some of the hottest feel-like temperatures we've had maybe in 5 or 6 years, it's important to remember that pets are extremely vulnerable at times like this to the effects of heat, no matter what breed they may be. And there are certain things that you, as a pet owner and animal owner, can do to make sure that they stay as cool and healthy as possible. And the first, of course, we know we say it every year, but there is absolutely no reason for any amount of time in heat conditions that are projected to leave your pet, cat, dog, goat, whatever, in a car, even in the shade, even with the windows cracked, for any amount of time. It is amazing how quickly temperatures inside these cars can skyrocket, and it can just be a matter of minutes sometimes in extreme heat conditions before your pet can succumb to heat stroke. So don't be stupid. Don't leave your pet in a car, no matter how long, no matter if you think you're just going to be going in just for a quick bite to eat or a quick snack at a shop or something like that. Whatever it is, leave the pet at home if you can, and if you do have to bring it somewhere, make sure you keep the air conditioning on and somebody in the vehicle with them while you're in doing your job. However, there are many other things that people sometimes don't think about when it comes to the heat and keeping your pet safe. So, pushed-in breed faces like my friend here have a real tough time breathing, especially in these really hot conditions. So you want to make sure that with these guys, you definitely only take them out in the early morning and late evening for walks and for very short periods of time. Ideally, any kind of bulldog, pug, pushed-in face breed, really, they should be enjoying the inside air conditioning during this extremely hot weather. If the asphalt or sidewalk or whatever is too hot for you to be able to walk bare feet on it without having to do the tiptoe dance across to the grass, it is too hot for your pet's paws as well. For just as it can burn your feet, it can burn their paw pads. So remember, if it is too hot for you to walk barefoot on the asphalt, it is too hot for your pet. Do not subject him to that kind of torture. Now, if you were going to go out for a nice stroll or a walk or a hike or anything like that, you wouldn't do it during the blazing midday hours. No, you'd be doing it during the morning where it's cooler or later in the evening. Same applies for your dog. Don't subject them to that kind of torture. If you need to take them outside, make sure you do it in the early morning or the later evening for longer walks. Really, if you're going hiking or things like that, just consider leaving the pooch at home during the really, really intense heat waves. They will sometimes work themselves into such a state of heat exhaustion from loyalty to you that you won't know it until it's too late. So follow this simple advice of leaving the pooch at home and walking them only during cooler times of the day. Do you take care of feral cat colonies, maybe a couple of stray or outdoor barn cats and things like that? Well, same rule applies. You want to make sure that there's plenty of cool, fresh, clean water for them at all times. And you also want to make sure they have areas that they can go, maybe a shaded porch, things like that, to get out of the direct rays of the heat. If you do open up your garage or a screen-in porch or something like that, you also want to make sure that they do have access to be able to get out of those structures in case the internal temperatures do get a little hot. But what if, say, you're taking care of slightly larger pets? So if you might also happen to own a couple of horses, you want to make sure that you definitely take care of them. They need plenty of fresh, cool water during really, really hot times like this. They are going to be outside. You definitely want to have a shaded area, preferably trees or things like that, where they can go and cool off. If you are going to have them indoors, you definitely want to make sure that you do have some fans or things blowing the air around to make sure that you get some nice cooling circulation that way. If you happen to have some misters, those work really, really great for horses during these really hot times. And again, you want to follow, simple guidelines of not really doing any strenuous exercise with them unless it is the very early morning or the late evening, avoiding those very, very hot times of the day. And you definitely want to make sure you check with your vet about any signs of heat stress or stroke that you might be seeing in your horses. Now, you would not sit outside in the blazing sun for hours upon hours upon hours with no way of potentially escaping it by getting inside or getting into a shaded area, and you wouldn't want to do the same thing for your dog. So if it is going to be incredibly hot outside and your dog must be out in the yard, make sure they have a place where there is shade, that they can escape the harmful rays and heat of the sun, and you also want to make sure that they definitely have access to cool, clean water at all times. And that's only if you absolutely have to. Ideally, they should be inside. So remember, Keep all of these important tips in mind when we are dealing with this extremely dangerous heat wave coming up. This heat is no joke, folks. This has the potential to do severe harm and potentially kill animals, and none of us want to see that happen. So if you are concerned about any potential signs of heat stress or heat stroke in your pet, be sure to contact your local veterinarian immediately. Be sure to look up online for what some of the signs of heat stroke or heat stress may be in your animal. And most importantly, if you see an animal that might be in distress, left in a car unattended, out in the blazing sun in a backyard with no sign of shade, be sure to contact your local authorities right away and make sure they investigate that matter, because seconds count when it comes to saving lives.